So, we've got the Charlie Kirk-ed Nagual-Women who are needed to be tuned to pulling. Remember, they're supposed to be linked to the Nagual man to pull the group into the fifth dimension and rapture, instead of which I wanted, as Kalki, to tune them to pull the group, that basically is everyone and their dog, into Omega Hell, into the Abaddon boxes to power the new source. And once the new source has bled dry base reality, to go into God Emperor Matrix 1, 2, and then down we go, like in the elevator at the end of Angel Heart. So now, of course, we have to unleash hell. The Nagual-Woman are both poisoned by giving their energy away to Charlie Kirk. Vermin, I stuck Charlie Kirk into the Pfizer butt slut and into Cullum, Scott, whatever his name is, to poison them totally. So when Dewar and Taylor have sex, their Nagual womanhood is totally poisoned and tuned to Omega Hellizing everything and anything from yours truly. So it allows the IOU of the source to be perfectly downloaded into the universe, multiverse, and megaverse. And this has unfolded beautifully, and we'll listen to Baldy here, who in fact is an excellent raconteur of the military, and I regard him highly.
Been confined to the bunkers underground. They cannot live above ground now. They live in the bunkers. The other aspect of this I was not totally aware of. I suspected it until Ted Postall called me. You know Ted.
Right.
Got it down at William & Mary and had me on the phone for about 40 minutes explaining to me this situation. I go back to Kang Sak-ju and Yi-gun in North Korea when Jim Kelly was negotiating with them and offering them this huge package of economic incentives, and Yi-gun stopped him mid-sentence and essentially said, "We already have the bomb." Blew Jim away. I mean, he was Assistant Secretary of State for that region, blew him away. Well, here's what Ted told me. He believes, and I think he gave me enough evidence for that belief to convince me, that the Iranians underground not only, let's go back, they not only survived the marvelous bombing of Donald Trump's B-2 bombers, et cetera, they survived with most everything intact. So they are deep underground right now. And he thinks that they are making a nuclear weapon, and that they soon will reveal that they have that nuclear weapon, or 2 or 3 or 4, as Kang Sak-ju said, we've got 6 to 12. And that will change the entire picture, because they've shown they have the ability to fire these Qom Shah and other hypersonic missiles. They put that warhead on that, and we have an entirely different ballgame, one with an intensely dangerous perspective for the entire region, indeed for the world.
Is Trump desperate?
I watched that cabinet meeting, Judge. I only had a few minutes. I got out of the car and my daughter told me about it, and I turned it on YouTube, and I went straight to the minute for Witkoff giving his presentation, and it was so sycophantic I had to go back and watch some of the earlier stuff, the Secretary of the Energy, for example. Those people, Judge, had their heads so far up Trump's derriere that they couldn't see the sunlight, let alone tell the truth. Most of the things that were being said at that cabinet meeting to that now, as Jeff Sachs says, this megalomaniac who's showing it more and more and more, even if he were not that, he could not possibly make a decision based on what they're telling him, because what they're telling him is all pablum, and most of it's lies. And I want to ask myself, where have you been, Witkoff? Where's Kushner been? Well, you've been out there making billions of dollars for yourself. You certainly recognizes is a deadly trap, politically and militarily, certainly security-wise for the region and perhaps even for the empire. And he doesn't know how to get out of it. And Bibi's information appeals to him more, and instinct tells me this, than the intelligence community or any other sane voice he might be hearing. And he thinks Bibi is the man who can get him out of it ultimately. And of course, what Bibi is doing is playing him like the fool he seems to be now. Because Bibi wants this to go on interminably, doesn't even care about what's happening to his own people, probably wouldn't even care if Iran did break the boogaboo and shoot a nuclear weapon at him if he were still alive, because he'd just shoot 50 back at them. Bibi is entrenched in his own existential status now, and he wants.
So, from this man, we get what's coming, which is nuclear war in the Middle East. So, if you're going to get nuclear war in the Middle East, you're going to make sure you win it. So it's obvious that Iran has to be nuked into the Stone Age and wiped from the face of the earth, and the American people simply have to be so upset with the Iranians that they laud President Trump for doing it. And we've given the reason in previous videos. So, the Rothschild royal family unveiled Taylor Swift with her beloved Pfizer butt slut to show that Lucifer has been consigned to my eternal servitude, because the marriage is now fully committed to go on. And here, of course, is Lucifer taking the piss out of Taylor and her Pfizer butt slut. Taylor Swift's car is blocked by an angry Brazilian influencer as the singer tries to exit nightclub. Taylor Swift celebrated her historic night at the 2026 iHeart Radio Music Awards at Bird Street Club on Thursday night, and while exiting the exclusive West Hollywood hub around 1:30 a.m, the 36-year-old pop star had to be blocked from Brazilian influencer Liziana Gutierrez, 39. A security team was seen restraining Gutierrez outside the venue as she tried to get to the singer, and at one point she even stood in front of the car that Swift security was chauffeuring her from. So we know that the Rothschild royal family have won, and it's now the diktat that Gormless George and the Nepo rape baby Wills are the bloodline of Lucifer, and that Taylor is going to have Shannon Preston with the Pfizer butts like she lives long enough, depending upon the nuclear war coming. And we got Taylor Swift and Miley Cyrus failed to pose together at iHeart's awards, making fans wonder if there is bad blood. No, are you cursed? Are you cursed? Are you cursed? Are you cursed? I think Lucifer has basically cursed both of them. Taylor Swift makes touching dedication to fiancé Travis Kelce as she wins astonishing 7 trophies at 2026 iHeart Radio Music Awards. This was key to unleashing hell on earth. You can see that Taylor has been forced to marry the Pfizer butt slut, so I don't think there'll be any anything but the Pfizer butt slut and her getting married. We got 7 trophies for the 7 rams horn, so it looks like both of them are going to be sacrificed. I love that. Happy, happy. So I told you the Nepo baby, the supreme fuckwit, is actually gay. Trump confirms CIA told him Iran's new Ayatollah is gay. That puts him off to a bad start in that country. And we know this piece of shit, look at it, this fucking thing that can't get it up and had to have his wife artificially inseminated, is a gay piece of shit, and unfortunately the Shia Satanist vermin don't think that being gay allows you to become the supreme leader. So this Nepo baby with his $15 million mansion in London is secretly butt fucking not only goats but any boy he can get his hands on. So we can see the Luciferic curse of the royal family goes on and on. Terrifying moment, police officer is stabbed in the neck by knife-wielding yob as he gets bravery award from King Charles. Ha! Ha! You're right, I missed this, Vinny. So, all of you Luciferians who worship the Nepo rape baby, Wills and Gordon's George, Lucifer's coming for you. And it won't be a knife, I think it'll be nukes myself. I like it. He gets the award from Charles, who's been cursed by Lucifer, and gets stabbed in the neck. Who else got his neck done in? Any ideas? I don't know anyone who got his neck blown away.
About this visit from King Charles and whether he was looking forward to it, and this sort of warm affection came over his face thinking about King Charles. How is the relationship, do you think, between these two men, and what might that visit mean to America?
Yeah, you always see President Trump soften when it comes to the British royal family. His mother had, as a young woman, she had scrapbooks dedicated to not only Princess Elizabeth, but Princess Margaret. And she absolutely adored the British royal family. Trump said as a child, whenever anything royal related was on the television, the entire house stopped, and he knew he could find his mother in front of the TV watching the British royal family. So I think that they obviously have a very soft space in his heart, and he's proud that he associates with them on this level today. He did have a friendship with Prince Charles in the 90s. There are even rumors that he tried to date Princess Diana after their separation, but we don't like to talk about those today. But there's a lot of respect there, and I do think that King Charles recognizes that President Trump is a controversial character, but he tries to stay above the fray. He realizes that their relationship is incredibly important to the special relationship that we've heard about over the last several decades, and he wants to ensure that we stay in each other's good graces. And as you know, as well as I do, before Trump had even ever heard the name Keir Starmer before, Starmer was tearing into him. So this was going to be a rocky relationship from the get-go. Yeah. And hopefully the British royal family can ensure that we maintain a wonderful relationship.
So, Charles is being sent by the Rothschild royal family to beg Trump for his Nepo Rothschild rape baby and Gormless George to assassinate yours truly, because the British deep state has revolted. They've revolted, cameraman. MI6 refused to assassinate me in Vietnam. They refused to assassinate me in Hong Kong. Why could this be? Because they know that yours truly is the age of Lucifer. All Luciferic power is mine, because of course Miley lost the bet, and now Taylor has been ordered to marry the Pfizer butt slut and come out of hiding at the iTunes award and got 7 awards, that she's off the table. But the British deep state refuse the assassination, so they want Trump and the CIA to kill me in the tram ASAP because the Rothschild royal family's in meltdown, and the fate of all the Luciferic cult worshipping the Nepo, bald, brainless, rape baby, Wills and Gormless George is at stake. So, Trumpy boy must defer to Charlesy boy and at least do a Majoro on yours truly, or send a drone and blow up the block that I reside in the tram, because the British deep state, however revolting they are, refuse to go down with the Charles Rothschild royal family into Omega Hell, because they realise that now we're in the age of Lucifer, the God Emperor is in control. So here is Nagual-Woman number 1, and we've got Nagual-Woman number 2, Dua. I must admit, she was quite a lump during lockdown, but she has slimmed out and has become quite, well, svelte. So we've got this one and the other one to get a standing wave, Dua. Well, let's give you Dua as well. And Dua has lost a few pounds too. As I say, both of them are svelte. So, both of these Nagual-Women have been poisoned, corrupted. How did I do this? So where did I get the poison to instill into these 2 Nagual-Women to make them weapons of mass destruction? So instead of pulling the human race behind me into rapture and sourceness, I used them to hellize the entire human race, all aliens, universe, multiverse, megaverse. Well, it came from Bezos and Wheel of Time and Robert Jordan and Morton Janklow, the Jews, that allowed me to poison them by putting this Charlie Kirk app into both Taylor and Dua, so that instead of pulling the human race into rapture, they push they push the human race into the Abaddon cages for maximizing the new source output for yours truly.
I have stood as the world's most powerful and revered magic wielders, protectors of peace, and seekers of balance. But when it comes to men who can channel the one power, their fear runs bone deep. So much so that entire ajas are dedicated to hunting them down. To understand this fear, we have to walk through fire and madness. We must return to a time before the world was broken, when male channelers were not feared, but revered. This is the story of how the world ended, and why the Aes Sedai can never forget. Spoilers ahead, please take care. Long ago, during the Age of Legends, male and female Aes Sedai worked side by side, wielding the one power in perfect harmony. Saidin and Saidar, the male and female halves of the true source, were opposites, but together they kept the wheel of time turning. This was a golden age of peace, science, and breathtaking magic, where Aes Sedai used the power not for war, but to build and heal. Some lived for hundreds of years, even nearing 1,000. And with their guidance, humanity soared. But ambition has a way of opening doors best left sealed. A woman named Mirin Erinail, later known as Lanfear, led an experiment to access a new, unified source of power. She believed it would transcend the split between Saidin and Saidar. But instead, her team bored a hole in the pattern, straight into the prison of the Dark One. From that wound, the world began to bleed. Before time began, the Dark One...
So you see the genius of the God Emperor. You get the Jew vermin, Robert Jordan and Jean-Claude, Amazon with the Bezos, Baldy, and his hag, old sour wife, all the publishers and everyone that watches Amazon and has ever seen the book or even heard about it, to be in the Abaddon boxes to produce the new light of the new source, yours truly. And if you watch Supernatural, you'll see that Chuck, the Jew god, writes his books and then gets Metatron in later episodes to write for him, the scribe of God. What exactly happens? I've simply got my enemies, the Elohim that inhabit Morton Janklow, Robert Jordan, to agree to the occult contract where they steal from me, but instead of stealing me, they steal the IOU, because remember, Charlie Kirk died for me, and he was then lowered to Abaddon processing frequency because Ian Huntley died for me in jail. Remember, the British wanted to jail me, and the Goldsmith Rothschilds were going to pay an inmate to crush me like a flea. And of course I put Charlie Kirk's soul into Ian Huntley when he got smashed up. And we got the Iranian girls, 170 plus, fried with Ian Huntley, 2 schoolgirls, to make sure that we tune the females to be fried and die at the hands of the male. Hence the use of Ian Huntley. And the energy for all of this comes from Bezos and Wheel of Time and the observers and viewers and Robert Jordan and Morton Janklow and the publishing house and anyone who's ever touched, read or bought or even come in contact with the God Emperor's script for reality, or now the matrices. So the new age has arrived. I've sucked out all the new source with the past videos, which were the installation, and we've gone from loose sterling, which was bleeding base reality of the new source, to God Emperor Matrix 1 with Randall Thor to God Emperor Matrix 2, where Randall Thor wakes up and realizes he's in the torture chair a la Brazil, and it never really happened. And of course the Great Dark One is the Rothschild curse, all incepted by all of the Luciferic sidewalk magic of the pentagram, which I gave to the forum with the 5.
The great weave of reality the Creator made. He represented pure destruction and chaos. To protect creation, the Creator locked the Dark One away at a single metaphysical point in reality known as Sheol Gul. This was not a prison like a box, but more like a patch on the pattern that sealed him away completely. He could not touch the world, influence people, or affect time. So for thousands of years, he remained sealed, completely cut off from creation. After the drilling of the bore, the Dark One's influence seeped into every part of life. Slowly, the once utopian society began to rot from within. Kindness gave way to cruelty. Selflessness curdled into greed. Violence returned to a world that had forgotten the meaning of war. And then the Forsaken emerged, 13 of the most powerful Aes Sedai, seduced by the Shadow's promise of power and immortality. Men and women alike joined the Dark One, including some of the most brilliant minds of the age. They did.
So if you're one of the Forsaken, you are the new arch demonic entities of the new sources age. We've gone from base reality and we're descending now down the matrices as I bleed more and more source light out. That's why I had to go through the previous videos to show you how the Elohim's technology to parasitize the source works, and the IOU where the source makes the Elohim suffer to source level to make new source, and as yours truly Kirk-ed has done the job, he gets the reward of becoming the new source. Doesn't mean I'm separate from the source, it just means the source can now do things that he couldn't do before, like make vampires or make archdemons like Forsaken from the eternal torture of the Elohim and all they created, and of course the Adamic kings and queens, who are the archangelic versions of the new source to IOU the Elohim that tried to steal from the source. So if you've got Forsaken, don't worry, you're the archdemons, you hate good, and if you've got the Adamic kings or queens service, you love evil. So if you want to do nasty things, get a Forsaken service. If you want to do good things, get an Adamic kings or queens service. And of course you need the Amalek service to access the Boar, to access the Klipothic realm, and the Amalek realm, which is Universe B of the Klipothic realm, to link up with the inverted Grail state, which is what the Elohim wanted to do by possessing the Neo state, which I've explained before. Now it's inverted, so the further and further it goes down, the more and more power comes to yours truly, the new source, his vampires and his archdemons, the Forsaken and his archangels, the kings and queens of Edom. Very fucking simple.
Invented new nightmares. Shadowspawn like Trollocs and Murdral were bred. Entire cities were razed, millions died. With the war going badly, Luz Theron Telemann, called the Dragon, led one last desperate mission. He and 100 male Aes Sedai, known as the 100 Companions, struck at Sheol Gul, the site of the Boar, and sealed the Dark One's prison. It was a breathtaking act of courage. But the Dark One had a final gift to offer in return. As they sealed the Boar, he tainted Saidin, the male half of the One Power. It was invisible, subtle, and deadly. The moment they returned, 60...
How did we do that? Well, we simply stuck into Jesus Christ's second coming, Charlie Kirk, the Rothschild curse. And of course we've got Bezos and his old hag sow wife to get hundreds of millions of observers to empower it forming the new source. Thank you, Bezos. I love it. Cameraman, why have they cancelled Wheel of Time Series 4?
Ad on the spot. The rest followed in time. Luz Theron himself, driven to madness, slaughtered his entire family and friends in a frenzy of grief and power. Only when Ishamael briefly healed him with the true power did he understand what he'd done. Luz Theron took his own life, but the damage had only begun. For the next 300 years, the world died screaming. The male Aes Sedai, one by one, lost their minds to the taint. These were not petty mages. These were the most powerful channelers on the planet. And in their madness, they unmade everything. They raised mountains where there had been none. They shattered continents. They burned cities, flooded entire nations, and cracked the crust of the world.
So, this is World War III, where base reality has already happened. and we've used all of this to poison all of the males. So if you're a male, you're all Charlie Kirked and have the Rothschild curse within you. If, of course, you're within the Freemasonic grid. So I'm in Vietnam, so all the Vietnamese are immune because there's no Freemasonic grid here. There's no obelisks. Have you seen any obelisks, cameraman?
No.
Have you seen any altars and pools? Or the other paraphernalia of Freemasons? Are there any Freemasonic lodges in Vietnam?
No, no.
Not that I know of, exactly. But there are in Cuba. And you'll be sure there are in Russia. And there certainly are in Hong Kong, which is the Trojan horse to destroy China. So the Chinese better get rid of all the Freemasonic lodges in Hong Kong double fucking quick. Anyway, to continue.
It unraveled. What had been the shining age of legends was lost beneath a tide of earthquakes, fires, and oceans. Even the Augir, who were sheltered in magical steading where the one power could not be touched, were forced to flee as madness threatened to rip the world apart outside their borders, and all the while the female Aes Sedai could do little but pick up the pieces. This question haunts the tower to this day. If the female Aes Sedai were still sane, why didn't they just stop the madmen? The truth is, they tried. Some women begged and reasoned. 10,000 Aiel gave their lives at Sora dancing and singing before a mad male Aes Sedai, buying time for innocence to escape. Others fought, but insanity made the men unpredictable and staggeringly dangerous. Many had access to powerful Sa-Angreal, artifacts that amplified the power 100-fold, and not all went mad at once. Some used their remaining time to prepare, to hoard Angreal or build fortresses. There was no unified plan, no sudden end, just wave after wave of destruction, until the last of them died. The Aes Sedai that survived became the founders of the White Tower. They dedicated themselves to never letting the past repeat itself. The trauma of the breaking
So, thanks to my book, The Wheel of Time, where the Jews, Robert Jordan, Morton Janklow, and all the Amazon, and everyone who's bought the book, read the book, seen the book, or even seen an advertisement, has agreed to Eternal Torture and Abaddon Cages to produce the news source. I've uploaded all the news source to myself, uploaded for God Emperor Tech Matrix 1 via Randall Thor, where I've changed the ending, where he wakes up realizing he's just being possessed by the Great Dark One, thinking he's won, but in fact, like Luz Therin, blew up the world and lost. Now we're into God Emperor Matrix 3, 4, 5, 6, and descending as we speak. But the important thing is that this installation allows me to use all the evil of everyone associated with Amazon, the Wheel of Time, Robert Jordan, Morton Janklow are screaming in their Abaddon cages, to pump via the Nagual-Woman, who are having sex with and have given their energy to the Charlie Kirks, Ian Huntleys, Pfizer Buttslut and Callum Scott, to produce a standing wave of total corruption, to pump into all males on the planet and pull all things within the universe, multiverse, megaverse, into Omega Hell, into those Abaddon boxes to get maximum yield for the new source. Already done. We've seen the world go mad and the breaking of the world with the Russian filth, the lowest form of scum. They make Trollocs look Adonis-like, have wiped out the world with their dead man's hand. So you're already dead. How can you do that? We're not dead, or yes, you can with a quantum computer. you simply find the timeline where Russia wiped out the world because of a Ukrainian or Israeli or MI6 nuclear weapon or weapons that detonated all across their country and wiped out the world, thanks to the electric cars where the nuclear weapons land, and America wipes out Russia and of course China and North Korea, anyone on their target list as they die. Already done, and with a quantum computer you can import, so it's already happened, so you can get your cake and eat it. So it's already done, base reality of the news source gone, full upload to me via that inverted grail state. The Matrix, not Lou Sterling but Randall Thor, fully uploaded. Again, the death force to make 100% comes from the Russian filth that wiped out humanity, and then you can export it to all the aliens, the universe, multiverse, megaverse. You're starting to see God Emperor technology. So now we're on the elevator descending to lower and lower matrices to get more and more light for the new source. So everything on the planet is a shell, a soulless thing in its Abaddon cage. And for you vampires, this opens the doorway to be able to control all the clipothic demonic realms, which will be the thesis of the next video. So in the next part, since we've shelled all of the aliens and the entire human race,
Part 19.
we'll talk about the clipothic realm. And I tell you what, this pensioner looks very bad. I think he needs his COVID shots and boosters and a wheelchair. He's not looking well. Luckily, I've been to Hong Kong and sucking dry via the Freemasonic network all the life force to become the new source, and I'm fit and healthy, and I don't look like that anymore. He's not looking well, is he, cameraman?
No.
He needs some Viet Duck. So next we'll be showing how this allows those of you who've got the Taylor Swift and Dewar services to control all the clipothic realm and the goetic demons. And of course we're sticking a bit of pentacle magic. So never fear, hell is here.